Feelings. Nothing more than feelings. Yeah, that's not true. Feelings aren't merely an inconvenience of being human. There's a reason for them. They serve a purpose. The poor things get a bad rap for being awkward, exacerbating, annoying, impeding, especially the bad feelings. But they're actually more than just sensations to tolerate or ignore. They're actually a part of your survival instinct, an important component of mastering your mind. Feelings are always a result of thoughts, whether conscious or subconscious thought. And the stronger the feeling, the bigger the clue our body is giving us to try to get us to examine the thought that gave rise to this feeling. The average person has about 60,000 thoughts go through their mind each day. And it's impossible to become aware of all of them, much less dissect them. And it's probably not something that sounds fun anyway. But the ones which cause palpable emotion are asking to be looked at. A huge obstacle for you, however, is that your job conditions you to suspend, bypass, invalidate, or ignore your own feelings throughout the day, every day. Being hypervigilant involves focusing on things outside of yourself, right? Like staying aware of your surroundings, watching suspects, being on guard for anything. Your focus has been trained to be outward, outside of yourself. And even when you get home, you might be greeted by people wanting your focus and attention, a significant other, kids, pets. And then your focus turns to them, again, outward. But you have had thousands of your own personal thoughts and feelings all day, whether or not you're aware of them. And even if you don't feel the lingering feelings of your day, they're still there. These feelings and the thoughts that cause them still haven't been acknowledged or addressed. They've just collected up. And in more of a messy, tangled, disorganized way. They're kind of like unmatched socks in a drawer that won't close. Some are dirty, some don't have matches, like just single loose socks. They take up space, they look like chaos, and you can't really identify any complete pairs. This is probably what has become automatic for you, neglecting yourself. And unfortunately, it's unrealistic to be able to address and understand your feelings while you're focused on the job during your day, especially certain days. It's one of the sacrifices you make. But awareness and understanding, remember, are both steps toward your peace. And you can work on the awareness part, and we can modify how we go about the understanding part. So, I mentioned that our thousands of daily thoughts, out of those, some of them have a pretty strong effect on us and cause palpable emotion. So by palpable, I mean you can feel it. But when you've been trained away from feeling your emotions, they might make themselves known a bit differently. And you can learn to become aware of that. Somewhere in your mind, you might know that you're more comfortable with physical symptoms than emotional ones. So your feelings may show up as something that you can physically feel. Like, for example, a sudden dropping feeling in your stomach, nausea, a sudden sensation of like burning, like hot burning in your cheeks. For me, I know that stifled anger does, it makes my jugular do this like gross earthworm impression, and I feel all strangly. And when it's a real good one, I even get like this disgusting feeling of like eye pressure. It's really fun. Strong feelings can also express themselves as a drastic change in your mood, sudden irritability, sudden diminished motivation, sudden aggression, a sudden feeling that nothing at all is going right. Now, what I'm asking you to try is to learn to become aware of these emotional red flags. What that will accomplish is it will cause you to pause and make a connection between the thought that just caused that surge in emotion or the surge in reaction and what your feeling might be that goes with that. The event that happened or something someone says and what feeling or emotion it causes. So what this does is it will break the cycle that you might be in of feeling emotions on more autopilot. That thing where you banish them to this purgatory of mismatched sock drawer and don't think about them. You're acknowledging that the emotion exists, and that is step one to validating it. It's literally just a matter of a couple of seconds during which time you just acknowledge that either a certain event, a certain person's words, some new news that you just got, made you feel some sort of way. Now, a normie has the luxury of continuing to contemplate the thought and understand the feeling at that moment. But you may not have that kind of alone time or downtime, and it's unlikely that you can effectively decompress at all during the course of your day. So, step two of having control of how you process your emotions might have to happen at the end of the day. This won't require a ton of time, and it doubles as a way to help you make that all-important shift from your officer self to your core self so that you can get the most out of your downtime. This is the process that's even more vital, more important to commit to mastering if you tend to work double shifts. You're going to want to connect with your true and complete self for as much of those 8 hours as possible. So, my plan is to make a separate video about the most effective way to efficiently make that transition every day. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to talk about the part that pertains to processing the emotions of that day. So, to recap, the first step was learning to identify the moments during your day which caused a surge of emotion, and at that time, taking a few seconds to just identify the why of it, and that's it. And later, when you're in your safe space, presumably at home, you can do step two. It's not something that takes much time at all. It's about making a deliberate choice to set aside a few minutes to mentally scan through your day, start to finish, with focus and intent, and identify which thoughts or interactions affected you. Now, this is the time to go beyond just identifying the feeling, but to understanding it. And it's really important that you approach this part of the process intending to be patient and tolerant and kind to yourself. This is not a time to judge yourself regarding whether you should have felt this way or that way, or if it's considered normal to have felt that way. Some of the behaviors that stem from our emotions might be inappropriate, but no feeling that comes to you as a result of what you experience is wrong, inappropriate, or invalid. So by this point, you'll be far past the initial emotional reaction that you had earlier in the day. So it's actually a great time to reflect back when you're feeling calm, safe, and unclouded by those initial emotions, and sort through what that moment actually meant to you. You may find that when you look back on it, it isn't as upsetting to you as you originally thought, and that you can understand it and be at peace with it as your mind now redefines it as a lesser emotion. Or you may look back on something from your day and realize that it's actually every bit as messed up as you originally felt like it was. Well, then all the more reason to have given that one a second look. It feels incredibly validating to give yourself permission to think through something that tweaked you and let all your feelings be allowed to exist. Then, if you were hurt, You can decide if you're going to follow up with anyone about that to see if maybe they can help you fix it, feel better about it. If you are annoyed, is there something you can do to try to diffuse the annoyance or prevent more of the same? It's also fine to choose to do nothing at all about it. Simply assigning a reason to emotions you felt throughout the day makes them way less likely to fester unresolved within you. And having control over them, being aware that they existed and why, makes them less likely to revisit you on their terms, looking for resolution. It's such a neater and healthier way to file the experiences and feelings of your day away. And truly, all it takes is to learn to acknowledge the moment during your day, or the moments during your day, when that happens. And then taking 5 minutes after your day to make sure that you clean and match your emotional socks before you put them away. This is just one of the ways that we can work to restore you to baseline every day so that you stay connected with who you are and what you're worth. And you are so worth it. Be well.